Welcome to Inspiration Nation with Mandy Monahan, where you'll discover incredible business and youth leaders living inspired lives of purpose, passion, abundance, and contribution. Get ready to be inspired to dream bigger, love deeper, live generously, and take compassionate action that makes a difference for others every day.
Hey, Inspiration Nation. We've got a special guest today, Michael Dash. Michael is a gentleman who's incorporated giving into his business. He empowers people to give back. He provides them time off to go out and volunteer with their favorite organization. And he has also gotten behind a lot of causes and made contributions to organizations that are near and dear to his heart. In fact, I believe he's just back from hiking Kilimanjaro, all raising money and donations for a great cause. This will be an exciting show, whatever mountain or journey you're hiking, whatever cause you are considering giving to. Michael's going to share a lot of different ways to make a difference today. Hey, Mandy Monahan here with Inspiration Nation, talking with Michael Dash today. I'm really excited to connect and have Michael share his story of contribution. And we talked on the phone, Michael. We were at an event a while ago together, and we connected on the phone, and you were sharing with me what contribution means to you and how your life has really been transformed through contribution, and how you've brought back this new meaning, this new life through giving back to others and through making a big difference for others and helping people. And I'm really excited to share your story and how you have implemented that in your own life and also in your company. So you ready to dive in? Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for having me. Let's jump right in.
All right. Awesome. So can you share some of the ways, Michael, that you're giving back right now? So you just did a lot for Christmas. I understand you're doing some more stuff today. What is currently inspiring you to give back today?
I think always, especially around the holidays, there's just something inside of me that wants to, help the underprivileged. Others who don't have the opportunities that we have and that we take for granted, like having a Christmas dinner with your family, or a Thanksgiving with your family, or getting gifts during the holidays, and that entire kind of warm feeling that you get that others don't have the opportunity to participate in due to their circumstances or situations that may have come up in their lives. And those are the things in general that kind of inspire me, especially around the holidays. So, I definitely like to get involved with the food bank, get involved with feeding the underprivileged, get involved with helping with any food drives and clothing for them, because it gets really cold at this time of the year. And then just generally throughout the year, I'm very motivated to help children. Even I love kids, even though I don't have any yet, but I love kids and I love giving back to them. So I really try to, throughout the year, focus my efforts on causes that help children.
Wow. So you have quite a few causes. It sounds like you've chosen to give back to a lot with homeless, with kids. You're doing some exciting things we're going to dive into in just a bit. How do you pick what cause to get involved in? So for those out there that are looking for a way to give back at a bigger level, how have you chosen what to give back to, or who to give back to?
So in general, most people are going to have a tie to the organization. So meaning that somebody in their immediate family or their friends were affected by a specific disease, a specific, disability, a specific situation in their lives that these organizations are focused on, helping others rise from, or conquer, or support, or whatever it might be. In my case, I got involved very early on with the Leukemia Lymphoma Society. And I had a couple of friends. Now, they weren't like in my close circle of immediate friends, but they were friends that were actually in my brother's grade in high school. And we grew up in a very small high school, so it was like 89 in my graduating class. So everybody knew each other. But two of his friends in his graduating class passed away at very young ages from leukemia.
Wow.
So when you have somebody like die who's in their 20s, in the prime of their life, like full ride to Cornell University, black belt in karate, all-state wrestler. I mean, these were some of the attributes these two kids had, and these two guys, died from leukemia at such an early age that it always kind of stuck with me, and it impacted me. So that was the first organization I really took part in. In addition to, they had a positive outlet of running while you raise money combined in one effort that really kind of pulled me towards them.
Wow. All right. So that's a heart moment. So you looked at something that happened in high school with your friends passing, and you decided, I want to do something about this. And you raised, was it $75,000?
That was actually just last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Alone.
So I got involved. I'm from back east.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to say back east. I always like to say that phrase because I'm not back east anymore. But I grew up in New Jersey, and I worked in New York City for 10 years. And then I moved out to Salt Lake City, Utah. When I moved out to Salt Lake City, Utah 10 years ago, that's when I really picked up my involvement with LLS. And they had an organization called Team in Training. That's their organization that trains people for marathons while you raise money for them.
Wow.
Yeah. So I joined them, and I ran 4 marathons through that organization and raised about $5,000 for each marathon. Basically, you raise a certain amount of money, and they get you in the race because some of these races you can't get in otherwise. And then they give you a discount on the fee into the race and everything. So I did that for 4 years, for 5 years actually. It was 4 marathons over 5 years for them. So that's how I got really engaged with them. And there was a certain camaraderie you built with all these people because you're actually training with them for marathons also, something that I never thought I could or would do. But, mind over matter. And when you have a support group, it's great. And when you're actually doing it for a cause, it's even better. So a lot of the people I was training with had loved ones who passed away from leukemia or who were going through treatment or whatever the case may be. So that's how it actually started.
So you were really running with purpose with other people that were passionate about the same cause. What did you notice? What did you experience in that? How did it impact your life, Michael? Yeah.
It was like a family. It was like a different family or a different tribe is what I like to say, where everybody was so supportive of each other and there to help each other. And just by the nature of what we were doing. So I'm friends with a lot of those people to this day. And, when you join an organization like that and you're already in it to fight for a cause, and now you're exposed to all these other people who are fighting for the same cause, it's kind of an instant bond, really. And it's much easier and much to connect and to share stories and to support each other. And that's not only through the personal stories of what they were exposed to on the leukemia and lymphoma side of things, but that's also in like the training itself of there's people there who've never run before in their life, who've never, walked that amount of distance in their life. And now they're trying to do something that they've never done in honor of a loved one. So it's a real supportive system, and everybody encourages everybody with that, with the fundraising as well. A lot of people, it's the first time fundraising. So there's a whole program in place that LLS has that really helps you set up your web page and, gives you all these tips on the best and easiest ways to fundraise.
All right, great. So, gosh, a lot of people, it's coming up on New Year's, and I'm thinking of timing, and they might have some health goals. This could really kick it up a notch to look at what are they passionate about, what cause can they get behind and make a difference while they're going for these health goals. What were your tips and tricks? What worked for you to raise so much money and to make a huge contribution?
So if I'll answer that question by fast forwarding about 4 years after my last marathon. So I had done my last marathon about 4 years ago. It was in Vancouver, Canada, and I injured my back, so I had a couple back surgeries. So I decided probably take a break from this for a while. So that's what I did. 3-4 years later, I got a random call from LLS, and they said, "Hey, congratulations, Michael! You've been nominated for the Man of the Year, Woman of the Year competition."
Wow.
And I was like, and that was last year, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's amazing! I mean, I would love to call myself the Man of the Year, right?" Being a little facetious, of course, but who wouldn't want to call themselves that? But little did I know it was actually work. They wanted to put me to work, which was fine. But I took the meeting with them, and they wanted me to participate in their Man of the Year, Woman of the Year campaign, which is a national campaign. Every state does it, but it's done state by state. So they told me there were like 8 other people who were nominated, men and women, and it was a 10-week fundraising blitz to see who could raise the most money in 10 weeks. So I was reluctant at first to participate, just because, I had my business I was running, and I had a lot of things going on. And then when they talked to me about, they were doing it in honor of the boy and the girl who are here locally, 4 and 5 years old, going through chemotherapy, I immediately said yes. So I did it, and basically tips I would give. I mean, the way I was able to raise that much money was like just doing everything I could possibly do. So I had a bunch of events. So like I had an event in New York. So I flew back and got my New York kind of crew together. And then I had an event here in Utah. I had a couple events here in Utah. One was a foodie fundraiser. I got 5 chefs to cook live with, and I had a DJ in an open bar and charged $75 a head, and then had the Girl of the Year video in so she could talk to all of them about what she was going through, and then had a silent auction there. And that was a big hit. And another great tip is find a friend who works for a major organization that does matching. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Great idea.
And then raise as much money in cash as you can, give it to that friend, and let them put it through their company to get double the amount matched. It's a win-win because you get double the amount for your fundraising efforts. Your friend gets a big tax write-off that they would never have before. And the company, that's their policy anyway, so it's there for anybody to take. So, I did that on 2 different occasions, and a lot of the people that I was fundraising with also used that little trick to help boost up their funds.
I heard once that when you ask people to give, so I used to have some reluctance around it, and I heard once that when you ask people to give, you're giving them an opportunity to feel, contribute, get that feeling inside, make a difference, and it's actually giving a gift when you're asking somebody to contribute. So you did this through events, you did it through a company match, you did it, sounds like multiple events, and added value to people that came, and then
emails,
the story. Yeah.
Yeah, email marketing.
Great. So in that 1 year raised $75,000 for the organization?
10 weeks.
In 10 weeks?
Yeah, 10 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right, that's impressive.
If I had a year, I would have been able to destroy that goal. But,
yeah, I bet. Knowing what you can do in 10 weeks. All right.
Yeah, it was 10 weeks. It was a crazy time. I will say I put a team together that helped support me. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them. But it was a crazy time. I mean, I was focused on that more than I was on work for a lot of the time. And I grew close with the families, and it meant a lot.
Good. So, gosh, this calling that you have for giving, when you say yes, where did that come from in you? What sparked that? What ignited that fire to give?
It's a great question. So it's a little bit selfish, I'll admit. it makes me
So
feel
that's
good.
ironic when you say that, because giving is selfish. So that's really ironic that you say that. So
Yep.
expand.
Yeah. I mean, it makes me feel good.
Okay.
I mean, the number one, it's obviously a huge benefit that I'm giving back to others and I'm helping others, but it really makes me feel good inside. So that's really why I do it. you know, it's important that we're all our best and the best person that we can be. And, in fulfilling those things within yourself, then you can be better for others and the people that surround you. So it's really important for me to, continue to do that and to what I like to call nourish my soul. Right. And
Mm.
remember, and be humble, because for the majority of my life, I wasn't, I wasn't really humble. I wasn't really, I took things for granted that others don't have, which most people do. Most people take life for granted. They take things for granted. They complain about things that aren't important. And that's a lot of time and energy, like all over here. When you can take that time and energy and put it all over here to like giving back to others, to putting a smile on a stranger's face, to helping little kids out who haven't done anything wrong in the world, regardless of what it is that they're afflicted with or that they're going through. And those things really make me feel like I'm being a productive human.
So it's really you starting and giving back at a higher level came from you wanting to be the best version of you possible, like the best man of the year in your life every year. And so that feeling of humility and appreciation, like when we talked on the phone, you were saying that this appreciation for life is present now that you're giving back at a higher level. So what happens when you say yes to giving? How are you different as a result?
Um, uh, it's humbling, right? I mean, I used to just write checks, right? So, I would get tons of flyers in the mail for everything, for the troops, for the homeless, for the animal shelter, for cancer, for leukemia, for every possible disease that there possibly was, right? So I tried to spread it around a little bit, but I really just only used to write checks. But getting involved, and not like major checks, like what I could do, 50 here, 75 there, 100 there, whatever it is, right? But participating is so much more fulfilling because it is a process where you start from nothing and you build to something. And along the way, you see all the people that will help support you and get you there, or you'll see people who it's not that important to them. And that's fine. Everybody has their own thing. But for me, actually participating and seeing the look on that kid's face when I walk in with a unicorn for the girl of the year. I had this big stuffed animal unicorn that I took a video of the whole thing. I can send it to you if you want. But it was her last day of treatment at the hospital. So I wanted to congratulate her, and I came in with this big stuffed animal unicorn. And just the smile on her face was just like amazing. I mean, it gave me the sense of purpose, like this feeling of like, hey, what you did today is better than any accomplishment, any deal you closed, any amount of money the business made, anything from that standpoint. Like that means way more to me, putting a smile on that little girl's face, than anything else I could accomplish in business.
Wow, that's powerful. So that sense of purpose and fulfillment that comes with it. What have you noticed? Because you've now implemented in your business, Michael, with Parallel HR, you've implemented giving back and contribution in your business. What inspired that? So what caused you to implement that?
It's just my belief that everybody should give back. And I take the office to the homeless shelter every year, maybe twice a year, depends on what's going on. And this year we helped them with inventory. The year before we went and we played with the kids for a couple hours, like 3 or 4 hours. And it's just really important to me that people understand how lucky we are, because even when I walk around in my own office, I hear people complaining about the most mundane things. And again, I used to be one of them. I was just the same, but I recognized how ridiculous some of the things that come out of our mouth are, and what we put our energy towards thinking about, and then what we could transfer that to, and how much more powerful and impactful it could be. And so for those reasons, I take them there. And then I also put in the policy that they can take 8 hours throughout the year on the company's dime to go volunteer at whatever cause they are close to. And I will support them. So I think it really encourages, employees to get out there and to do good.
Mm-hmm.
I have this shirt that says "Do Good," right? So it encourages them to do that, because what better way? Volunteering for me in itself is as fulfilling as it can get. But if you told me you're going to pay me to do it also, hey, that would be even better, right? So that's what I'm laying out there for the team and for the company. And I also have an office in India, and I make sure that they do quarterly events, and they're giving back to the needy in India as well.
So you're going global with this. So it's a part of your company culture.
It is.
So you're giving them paid time off to make a difference for whatever cause they're passionate about. You're planning company things where you go out with your entire company. What benefits? What have you noticed in your people? And I love when you said, Michael, that their attention and the energy flowing is now going in a different space. So what have you actually noticed in your people since implementing this?
I see an appreciation from them, especially when somebody in their family is going through something, that they can then go participate in support that group that's been supporting them.
Mm-hmm.
So I've definitely seen a higher level of enthusiasm and, focus when they come back from it, and then some great learning moments for them that they're able to come back and share with us. And I think it's those nuggets, those things that you learn from actually doing volunteering, feet on the ground, that you can take with you in life, and they're life lessons that you can learn from. And
Mm-hmm.
that could be as, little as, again, remembering how fortunate you are, or it could be like spur on something in you that you want to participate even more because you don't like the change that you hoped to see in volunteering for a specific event or a specific cause.
Do you notice they come back different or more engaged in their work or focused on different stuff?
Initially, yes. But again, it's a day of volunteering.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, if it's not in their blood to do it, or
Mm-hmm.
if it's not consistently being pushed to them, then, frankly, after a week, they're back to whatever they were before, right? So that's why I continually like to, I offer that program, but if they're not going to take advantage of that, well, I require them to come to the office visits that we do at the homeless shelters that we do every year. I require them to come to that. So I'm going to drag them one way or the other.
Great company culture. I'm seeing a lot more companies embrace strategic giving and embrace giving back to actually connect their people at a higher level. So it sounds like you're seeing that, and it sounds like, even by going global, that you're seeing the benefits of that.
Yeah, it's great for me to see a picture of all my team in India with like hundreds of kids around them.
Yeah.
That on the streets, like that's really impactful to me and to my team here also.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been very, very fulfilling from that standpoint.
Excellent. It's just like the purpose that you talked about. Now you see the purpose with your company around it. So what advice would you have, Michael, for companies that are looking at embracing giving back?
To participate, to have the leaders of the organizations, the
Mm-hmm.
executives participate, hands-on participation, leading their peers. I think it's very important that the example is set from the top down,
Mm.
It's easy for some CEO somewhere to go have this policy and then not participate in any of it himself or herself, right? That it really participating in it with your staff, shows a side of you to them. Number one, that they'll want to really see, that will inspire them, that will motivate them, that they're working for somebody like this.
Mm.
And so it will come back to them tenfold. And that would be my advice, and I would definitely encourage them to get everybody involved, because you have a company with 1,000 people. You put a policy in that everybody gets a day to do something throughout the year. I mean, you're impacting hundreds and thousands of other people by just doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that can go far, very, very far. So especially when they invite other people into that, that's cool. What advice would you have for people that are looking at giving back at a bigger level or making a difference this year, and that becomes part of their plan or part of, for their purpose in their life? What advice would you have for them?
So if they have a specific goal to raise a certain amount of money, for instance, is that, just want to clarify your question there.
Yeah, for whatever. If people are looking at because have you noticed, like, when people are writing their plans for their life, they don't always write in giving back or contribution. It isn't at top of the list, right? So when people are looking at, hey, this year I want to be really intentional about making a bigger difference, what advice would you have, seeing some of the benefits that you've experienced through giving?
So I think that's an outstanding point, as you just mentioned. It's funny, if you look the day after New Year's and you see all these people writing on their Facebooks, my New Year's resolutions are this,
Mm-hmm.
that, and the other. You're 100% right. You it's low. If it's even listed, it's on the lower end of the list, right? I mean, my motivation in life now, period, across the board, through some transformational things I've been a part of, is to help other people. Whether it's, definitely from a fundraising standpoint and from a volunteering standpoint, but also in whatever business that I'm going to do, if I'm continuing on with this business or doing some other side businesses and stuff, it's to support and help other people. And that is what, when I personally have that one-on-one connection with somebody, and I can see like something changing in them, in their mind, they understand something at a deeper level, then that really fulfills me. So what I would say is for those people that have intention and that want to do it, is to put a plan together, right? And commit. Okay. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to do. Right? You have to commit and have a plan. So if you really want to accomplish something from a fundraising standpoint or from a volunteering standpoint, then put it on the calendar now. What are you going to do and how are you going to achieve it? What's your goal? And put your goal up on you could write it out on a piece of paper and then back down on how you're going to achieve for that goal. So definitely start with your goal. If your goal is you want to volunteer at least twice a month for the entire year, okay, then write that down and then go and look at the organizations you want to volunteer for that you can locally, that it's doable for you during the hours you're available, and schedule it right away. Because if you let things creep up on you, then all of a sudden, oh my God, it's been 6 weeks, I haven't done anything. But by putting a plan together and actually scheduling it, then you can stick to it. So that would be my first piece of advice. The other piece of advice would be, if there's this particular cause that's very close to you, then reach out to the local chapter that's nearest to you and ask them how you can get involved at a higher level. They will always have opportunities for you to get involved at a deeper level. That would be my second piece of advice. My last piece of advice would be that I am sure you have friends or family or people that are around you, whether you know it or not, that are doing this type of work. Okay, put yourself out there. Ask your Facebook network, who volunteers in my group and what do you do, and can I get involved? And you will see all these different opportunities that are presented in front of you when you didn't know any of them really existed, because a lot of people, like I was, are in their own little bubble.
Wow. So that was great advice. That was really great advice. If it's not on your calendar, it doesn't exist. So put it on your calendar, write a plan for it,
Right.
get your attention. And, the Facebook is really about get your tribe and start to connect with other givers intentionally, just like you did when you were running with purpose, which is cool because you're going to grow with the people that you surround yourself with most. So that's being really intentional then around surrounding yourself with other people that are coming from contribution or living in that space of abundance. What I'm really hearing from you, Michael, is it's not about just volunteering. It's not about just writing a check. It's about how you are showing up in your life as a space of helping other people and living from that space of giving versus getting. And so that it's a way of life or a way of being for you. Has that always been the case, or was there a time in your life that was a turning point for you to start experiencing life from that point of view?
I actually think when the storm in Sandy hit. So I don't know if you remember, I was in New York when Sandy hit. Mm-hmm. Sandy was a massive storm that wiped out hundreds of thousands of houses in the New York area, especially all along the water. And that really had a lasting impact on me. And even though I was doing other volunteer work before then, I don't know if I felt as passionate about things until Sandy hit. Yeah. And I volunteered like a lot. We went to people's houses and put hazmat suits on to clean out their, because there was water everywhere, to like get their like pictures from their family years ago and all their heirlooms and stuff, all their like old stuff. They lost everything, right? And that had a real strong impact on me. Ever since then, I've made it a purpose to physically get involved more. So meaning that I am physically there doing these things. Whereas in the past, I would get involved, but more along the lines of like writing a check or asking people for money to support an effort versus actually physically doing that and cleaning those houses or doing, whatever work we needed to do. Or initially when the storm happened, just getting people water and cleaning supplies so they could actually, because they couldn't go anywhere. And so that had a huge impact on me. And then, and then that was the same with that transferred over to a lot of different events and nonprofits that I participated in, along with, supporting my friends. I also have this kind of motto that I live by, that if it's important to a friend, it's important to me.
Wow. That's cool. That's a great space of contribution.
Yeah. It's, I enjoy supporting my, so I have a very good friend here in Utah. Her name's Diana Young, and her daughter unfortunately passed from an accidental overdose like 5 years ago, and horrible circumstances and total shock, right? But her daughter was really a humanitarian when it came to animals, like loves animals, and adopting animals and stuff like that. So her mother has had this fundraiser for her in her honor every year for a company called Nuzzles and Company. Which helps and saves animals from domestic abuse, from the animals that are not being cared for, takes them in, has adoption services, the whole thing. And I have helped Diana with this fundraiser every year, and now I MC the fundraiser every year for her, and every year we've built it more and more, and we've done it 5 years in a row. So like, I personally didn't have any connection to pets, right? And I love animals. My brother's dog, I tell my brother the reason I see him so much is because I love his dog, but I just like busting his chops, really. But I love animals, but that would not be a cause I would be giving to if it wasn't important to a close friend of mine. So that's kind of an example of if it's important to a friend, it's important to me.
Well, it sounds like you're using your gifts and your talents to help other people. So even if it's not a cause that would normally call to you, you've got a gift inside of fundraising or inside of, the PR part of it, and that you can use those gifts to actually help them with their causes. That's a whole new level of giving I hadn't even considered. That's cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, it's great. We all have to support each other because for one reason or another, we all have different organizations or different causes that mean something to us. And the best way to contribute, in my opinion, is to support each other through our own contribution. And then it makes, then when you have a focus that's really close to you, then you have all these people who are definitely more than willing to jump on board and help you out.
Mm-hmm. Neat. So you bring your whole tribe into it. That's really cool. So if you were just to nail it down, a simple definition of contribution or giving, what would it be for you?
I would say that mine are usually complicated. So that's why I'm trying to pare it down in my mind to come up with something simple. But contribution to me, is dedicating your time and efforts to a cause that is greater than you to solve a problem that is affecting others.
Wow. That's great.
Was that good?
That was great.
Cool.
I like it.
See, that couple moments of pause in my head brought it together.
Trust your intuition. Yeah. that was cool.
Yeah.
All right. So you're definitely doing that in your life, and you've got something big coming up. Mount Kilimanjaro, that's really big. So I understand this is a bucket list item of yours for a dear friend, for Mark. Can you share that with us? So what's inspiring you to give now? What's on your horizon?
So I have always wanted to climb Mount Kilimanjaro and go on an African safari. These have been bucket lists of mine. The Leukemia Lymphoma Society offered this year, through Team in Training, the opportunity to raise money, as I did in the past with the marathons, but this time to raise money and then climb Kilimanjaro over in Africa. So I have tried to train for it. We'll see if I've been doing a decent job or not, but I've been at the gym doing 15 vertical on the Stairmaster. Usually I run, so it's weird just to walk, but it's tough to do that 15 vertical. But anyway, it's coming up January 20th to January 30th, and it's 10 days total, but it's actually an 8-day climb. I've never done anything like this before. I've actually only camped once in my life, and that was just a couple of months ago with my brother, because I said, hey, if I'm going to do this, I should probably experience camping. And it's going to be a whole different ball game out there because it's going to be cold. And so this will definitely test my intestinal fortitude and, my moxie, so to speak. So I am raising money for this because it is called Climb for a Cure. So, the Leukemia Lymphoma Society really does a great job with all the research and all the funds that they raise going to all research and coming up with cures. And over the years, they've come up with a lot of cures that have extended people's lives, that have saved people's lives. And, it's just been great to see what the organization's been able to do. And so I'm definitely looking to raise funds for this. And I'm way behind. I was supposed to be doing this for the last 6 months, but I'm actually just starting now. But that's okay. I'll catch up. So I'm sure we'll leave the audience some information if they'd like to come on and contribute. But along the way, I actually had a good friend of mine just passed away. Unfortunately, he was 35 years old, and he was a Navy SEAL who did 6 different stints overseas
Wow.
in Iraq, Afghanistan, Bosnia, Peru, and Afghanistan again. And he unexpectedly drowned in Tanzania. So that's where I am going. He was spearfishing. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it was just a tragedy that nobody could even believe. We still can't believe it. And he climbed Kilimanjaro literally a week before he passed. And it was just like, I didn't know he was climbing Kilimanjaro till afterwards. The fact that he was just there, he just climbed it and then passed in Tanzania, where I'm going and I'm climbing it. You know, I've decided to dedicate the climb to him. His name's Mark Weiss, and it has nothing to do with leukemia, but it's a very good friend of mine that will be missed forever, that gave back to this country every single possible way he could. And I'm part of some other organizations that raise money to find a cure for PTSD. But there's nothing like that I can honor him in right now. So this is how I'm going to choose to honor him. The money is still going to go to the Leukemia Lymphoma Society, but I'm doing it in his honor.
In his name. That's cool.
Yeah.
So for people to support you, that's humbling that you're doing that in his honor. A good friend of mine did that. And when he got to the top, like you here will soon, when he got to the top, he actually shared a message for him and said something up at the top in honor of that person. So that's really cool that you take something like that and turn it into good as can be, and make a difference for that. So how can people support you in this climb for a cure? So is that climbing for a cure?
Yeah, Climb for a Cure.
Climb for a Cure. How can people support you and get involved and contribute to Mark Weiss's dedication and also for a great cause?
Yeah, so I have a fundraising page up. I actually just put it up last night. So it's on the Team in Training website. So I'll give you the site address real quick. It's pages, PAGES, teamintraining.org/MTK/LMJR18/MDASH.
Got it. So
I know that was a lot. Can you put the link in there for everybody?
Yeah, we will. And then Michael, for anybody that wants to connect with you, what's the best way to do that? So we've got Facebook, Michael Dash. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
So you could check out my website, which is michaelg-dash.com.
Great.
And there is actually a fundraising kind of section on there that I'll be tracking all the different things that I participate in and everything. So that site's been up a couple weeks now, so I'm still fine-tuning things, but you can contact me there, or you can contact me at Facebook, which I'll respond to all emails and all messages, Facebook messages, whatever it is. And it's just Michael Dash there in Utah.
All right, great. So thank you so much. I love how you share your transformation and really living from a space of contribution and helping other people. And it's become so much a part of who you are. And also now very, very inspiring how you're looking at implementing this in your company and going global with it. So those are stories to share for generations, what you're doing, and also your tips of fundraising. So thanks for sharing those different ways to get involved and different ways to make a difference. So whatever, for whoever's listening, is there any last advice you want to leave them on contribution as we wrap up?
Act. That's what it is. It's action. It's activate yourself. Okay, bring your kids, enlighten them at an early age. My parents are great people, but they never really brought me to volunteer places. But if I was exposed to that as a little kid, if all our kids were exposed to that, then the world would be a lot better place. So act, take action, make a plan. Don't just talk about it. If it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist, and expose the young ones, because the earlier we do that, the better society we're going to have.
Truth bombs right there. Yep. All right. So whatever your difference is that you want to make today, go out and take compassionate action, just like Michael shared some of the different ways that he's taking compassionate action, and make your difference today. Thanks for joining us at Inspiration Nation.
Hey, Inspiration Nation. Thanks for joining us today and sharing in Michael's journey about what he's doing to make a difference and ways to give in his company and also fundraising. Gosh, those last words of wisdom about it's all about action. Compassion without action really doesn't go a lot of places. So it's really taking that compassionate action and doing something every single day. So whatever that is for you, I'm going to challenge you to think bigger, to go out there and live generously and make your difference today. Join us at Your Life of Contribution and Inspiration Nation on Facebook and share what it is that you're doing to make a difference for other people. We'd love to hear your journey, love to hear your transformation and your stories about contribution and impact. Thanks for joining us.